Olaf Jungle Masteries. So first off, I'll show you my rune page because this is a special rune page that you're not going to want to run on many people. I purely want attack speed and attack damage in this page. And once I have the quints down, the attack damage is really more important to me at that point. So you kind of give up some of the attack speed glyphs that you could have. Because the other way to do this is to run armor seals, but then you're giving up some of the AD there that you're capable of getting. So if these were all attack speed, then you're looking at like right around 19% attack speed. So Olaf doesn't actually need that much attack speed, right? And we wouldn't have any of this AD. You'd have 8.5. Right, you have too much attack speed in this page. Olaf doesn't need it, he's got it in his passive. So once I'm past the point of having attack speed in the quints, I start to look for alternatives, right? So maybe one of the things you could do is throw an armor quint on. If you look at the page, 9% attack speed is not really that much, and I'm gonna have to get some armor from somewhere because I want to have about 9 armor. You want it to at least equal out to a full set of seals. So what are some of the ways that I can get 9 armor? This is actually pretty close. It's like 2 armor off, but you know, we'll assume for the sake of the jungle clear that that's, you know, that's acceptable. But there's actually no reason to put an armor on quints if you're not going to run all armor seals, because the conversion ratio, armor seals are just so efficient that you're actually losing out on stats if you run an armor quint in that scenario. So the only real answer is to run armor glyphs, and this takes place of the extra attack speed in the rune page. And you know, you may notice that I actually own attack damage glyphs. It only comes out, it actually comes out to less than if you put the attack damage on the seals. And you actually get 0.3 extra armor. So you're getting more attack damage and more armor by setting it up like this. See, I only want 13.5 attack speed, or 13.5% attack speed. After I've got my 13.5% attack speed from quints, or whatever combination it would be, right? Then I need 9 armor, and I want to have as much attack damage as possible. So what equals up to 13.5% attack speed? And one way I'll figure that out is by taking the value of these 2 quints, subtracting it by 13.5% attack speed. So 13.5 minus 9 is 4.5. So we're left with a remainder of 4.5% attack speed that we need to get from our glyphs. So that would be 7. A little bit over 7 attack speed glyphs that we would need. So this is roughly equal to 1 quint. All of these attack speed glyphs is roughly equal to 1 quint. And if you take the armor value for this many runes, which is 7 times 0.7 is 4.9. So you get 4.9 armor out of these 7 glyphs. And a quint only gives you 4.3 armor. So this is where the difference comes from. Get an extra 0.6 armor. And this is actually a little bit shy on the attack speed as well. Even that isn't as much as a Quinn. So that's why the page is set up the way that it is. Alright, now that that's out of the way, we'll go quickly into the ferocity tree. Olaf actually has some options because, you know, he's not going to have a lot of hard CC getting down. But Bond of Stone is actually pretty decent on his kit in general. Like, you got to think about his attack speed passive. The longer you stay alive, the more access to the attack speed you have, the lower health that you're able to stay at in order to facilitate the extra attack speed for longer. A lot of these free resistances will continue to scale up really well, but for this season, mainly going to be concerned with jungle speed. While he has a decent amount of damage with his axes, you really want to grab this extra attack speed. I can pretty much tell you that for a fact, just based on Olaf's kit. I could take Fresh Blood or Expose Weakness here, honestly, because these numbers are not very far off in terms of ganking. It'll deal close to the same amount of damage. But Expose Weakness is more of like, you get more benefit out of being a team player with this one. Fresh Blood is more for that 1v1 style, so we're going to go with Fresh Blood. And you have to be careful about grabbing Lifesteal and Spell Vamp on Olaf, because while it is really good on him and it'll be, you know, 2% Lifesteal and Spell Vamp is not very noticeable, right? But it's enough to make it so that your passive doesn't have full value through your clear. So for that reason, I would go with Natural Talent, grab that extra damage. Double-Edged Sword for the better jungle clear. Battering Blows because armor penetration is nice. And Fervor of Battle. Fervor of Battle will help the axes deal more damage. So if you think about Olaf's play pattern, he's chasing you down. Maybe he casts his ultimate. None of that matters, but he's generating 2 Fervor stacks with every attack. And then after he lands, you know, an axe and lands a couple of auto attacks, he's going to pick up an axe. So now that axe is going to have the benefit of a fully stacked Fervor. So the second axe is going to hurt way harder, if you want to think of it like that, and every subsequent axe, as long as you're able to keep Fervor stacks up. Which is not that hard when you're in ulting and you're Olaf and you're in their face, right? Arguably, Olaf doesn't need the wand, doesn't need savagery, but out of combat movement speed, there's other places you can get it. The marginal utility of clearing the jungle faster is probably higher. Assassin is an option as well. Secret Stash if you don't like to go for Hunter's Potion. Olaf really doesn't need that item anyways, but we'll choose to go Runic Affinity because neutral buff duration is more consistent than relying on being alone to deal more damage. Merciless, obviously, free damage source. And actually would go Green Fathers on Olaf. Probably we have a few chances to proc it in our jungle clear. And it's not going to be a huge boon to your jungle clear, but it's going to be somewhat of a nice damage boost in mid game.
Urge to kill rising. The might of Lokvar approaches. To plunder. To action! Urge to kill rising. I'm going.